Hello, Army. Before we begin today's amazing story, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to keep supporting this channel, a place where we celebrate every heartbeat, every smile, and every magical story from BTS, especially our beloved Park Jimin. Your support means everything, so thank you, ARMY, for being the most powerful and loving fandom in the world. Now, let's dive into the story that has made the whole world wonder. How can one man's gentle soul become the most desired image in the entire fashion industry? The name Jimin BTS no longer needs an introduction, but behind the glamour, the flashing lights, and the global fame, there's something far deeper, something invisible, yet felt by everyone who sees him. It's the warmth of his soul, the sincerity in his smile, and the elegance in every small movement that turns Jimin from a mere celebrity into an icon of timeless grace. Luxury brands aren't just captivated by his appearance, they're enchanted by his aura. He doesn't need to shout to be heard. He doesn't need to pose too much to be seen. When Jimin walks, the world seems to pause. When he smiles, cameras flash faster. And when he simply looks into the lens with those soft eyes, the whole scene transforms from ordinary into something ethereal. In recent years, global fashion houses like Dior, Tiffany & Co., Cartier, and more have all been racing to associate their image with Jimin. But why Jimin? Why not anyone else? The answer is simple yet profound. Jimin represents purity and depth in an era obsessed with image. He carries emotions through his gestures, a tilt of his head, a soft glance, or a hand resting gracefully on his chest. It's as if his body speaks the language of art itself. Designers describe him as the embodiment of emotion, someone who doesn't just wear a brand, he gives it life. Every campaign featuring Jimin feels different, softer, warmer, and more meaningful. Even fashion critics who rarely praise idols admit that there's something about Jimin that's impossible to replicate. But maybe the real question is, does Jimin even realize how powerful he is? Does he know that his calm expression can redefine what beauty means in today's fashion world? Perhaps not entirely, because Jimin remains the same humble person we've always known. He still bows deeply to his staff, thanks fans with tears in his eyes, and never forgets to say, "I'm always grateful for ARMY." That sincerity, that purity of heart, is what makes him stand apart. It's what makes brands want him not just as a model, but as a symbol of emotional connection. When Jimin walks into a fashion show, he doesn't just wear the outfit, he transforms it. The color seems richer, the lights feel warmer, and the room becomes alive with emotion. He is elegance without arrogance, power without noise, luxury without pretense. The French press once called him le visage de la douceur absolue, the face of absolute softness. And yet, that softness carries strength, the silent confidence that leaves people captivated. Many stylists admit that when Jimin tries on an outfit, they often redesign the entire collection around his aura. His presence changes everything from the color palette to the photography tone. He is not just a muse, he's an atmosphere. But here's what's truly fascinating. Jimin's influence doesn't stop at fashion, shows, or photo campaigns. It extends into the emotional world of his fans. ARMYs across the globe feel inspired to express themselves through art, music, and fashion because of him. They say, when Jimin wears something, it's not just a trend, it becomes a feeling. His style isn't just about what he wears, but how he makes people feel. Even social psychologists have begun studying this phenomenon, calling it the Jimin emotional aesthetic. It's the idea that beauty is not only what you see, but what you feel when you see it. And Jimin embodies that perfectly. So, what does this mean for the future of fashion? Are we entering an era where emotion and authenticity matter more than perfection? And is Jimin the pioneer of that new wave? Many believe so, because Jimin has proven that true elegance doesn't need to scream for attention. It radiates quietly, sincerely, and beautifully. He is not just a face of luxury, he is the heart behind it. And that's something no marketing campaign can create, no photo shoot can fake, and no fame can buy. As we close today's story, one thing is clear. Jimin's gentle soul is not just admired, it's desired, because it represents something rare in today's world: kindness with strength, beauty with humility, and fame with purpose. So to all ARMYs around the world, thank you for keeping his light alive. Let's continue supporting Jimin with love, with pride, and with that unbreakable bond that has made BTS an army of family like no other. As we move further into 2025, the global fashion scene is undergoing a quiet revolution, one led not by designers or CEOs, but by an artist whose presence itself feels like poetry. Jimin of BTS, major fashion houses, from Paris to Milan, are beginning to realize something profound. Luxury is no longer about excess, but about emotion, and Jimin is the living embodiment of that change. In a recent feature by Vogue Korea, one stylist described Jimin as a mirror of emotion. He wears clothes the way others tell stories. That statement perfectly captures why his presence in fashion goes far beyond the surface. Every movement, every glance, and every silent breath he takes on camera seems to communicate something deeper, something the audience can feel even without words. It's that human connection, that subtle yet powerful emotion, that modern luxury has been missing, and Jimin brought it back. When Jimin walked into Dior's global campaign shoot, the room reportedly fell silent for a few seconds, not because of his fame, but because of the calm, graceful energy that surrounded him. He didn't need to perform, he just was. And in that stillness, he created art. A photographer who worked with him described it best. There's a kind of sacred calm when you photograph Jimin. You feel like you're capturing something divine, not just a person, but a feeling. That's the magic every brand now longs for, authenticity wrapped in elegance. But what makes this even more extraordinary is how Jimin's influence extends beyond the world of high fashion. In Seoul, young designers are now referencing Jimin's style in their collections, calling it soft confidence. It's the balance between vulnerability and strength, between warmth and sophistication. Fashion students in Europe have even begun analyzing Jimin's campaigns as examples of emotional branding, how an artist's natural aura can create stronger consumer loyalty than traditional advertising ever could. One marketing professor in Milan wrote, "Jimin has changed the language of fashion marketing. He doesn't sell luxury, he humanizes it." And perhaps that's the most revolutionary part of all. When Jimin speaks in interviews, his tone is always gentle, almost poetic. He doesn't seek attention, yet attention finds him. His humility contrasts sharply with the grandeur of the brands he represents, and that contrast creates a perfect harmony. Luxury, through Jimin, becomes something personal, something you can feel rather than just wear. It's about confidence that doesn't intimidate, beauty that doesn't demand, and that's exactly why Jimin stands alone. ARMEs who see his campaigns often describe them as healing. They say, when Jimin smiles, it's like the world breathes again. And somehow, luxury brands now understand that too. They're not just hiring Jimin for visibility, they're seeking the emotional warmth that only he can bring. So where does this journey lead next? Whispers in the fashion world suggest that Jimin may soon collaborate with a major European designer for a line inspired entirely by emotional connection, a fusion of art, comfort, and sincerity. Could this be the beginning of a new era called emotional luxury, where Jimin's soul becomes the blueprint of beauty? Maybe it already has begun, because when you look at Jimin, you don't just see elegance, you feel it. And in a world that often forgets to feel, that makes him priceless. As whispers grow louder in the fashion world, one thing becomes undeniable. Jimin isn't just a muse, he's a movement. Rumors hint that several luxury houses are competing for his next collaboration, not just for marketing power, but to capture the essence of who he is: soft, graceful, and emotionally magnetic. Industry insiders describe Jimin's influence as the start of a new fashion philosophy: emotional luxury. It's no longer about how expensive an outfit looks, but how it makes people feel. And Jimin, with his sincerity and warmth, has become the face of that feeling. When fans see Jimin in a campaign, they don't just see perfection, they see peace. His calm presence has redefined what it means to be elegant. It's not arrogance, but empathy, not distance, but connection. As one Parisian editor beautifully said, Jimin doesn't chase the spotlight follows his kindness. And that's the truth. His soul shines brighter than any diamond, and that's why every brand, every lens, and every heart continues to be drawn to him.